It's a great pleasure to introduce Matt Rinaldi from Irving to you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was it's wonderful to be here in Parker County. I absolutely love the area. It's beautiful out here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. Heard from two of the greatest reps we have in office. Honestly, legislating is a team sport. We each play different roles. We each play to our strengths, and nobody can do the same thing and expect to do it well. I could never do what Jonathan does. Nobody can. Only he can do that. Same thing with Tony as well. And, you know, it's just a pleasure to be able to serve with them. One thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess as a freshman and as a first year, a couple of the things that always intrigued me when I was a Tea Party member, a conservative in groups, was what happens to people when they get there? Why? And two, you know, Jonathan talked about a seat at the table. What does that get you? Can you be effective if you're a conservative? Regarding the first thing, you know, I got elected, we went down, we went to orientation, and the first thing that they told us was, okay, you know all those things about Second Amendment rights and pro-life and all those other issues? They call them red meat issues. That's just stuff we talk about back home. We don't actually do that. That's what they told us. That's what they actually said. They didn't even hide it. I was surprised that they would actually be that open about it, but they actually believe that. They believe that they are down there to get along with Democrats. Going along to getting along is actually the culture. And that's what they try to instill in you as well. Because when there are people who don't, they have to answer to you. Because you're getting the real story, whether it be outside groups or other state reps. You'll know what's really happening. And then they can't go along to get along. And it makes it harder on them. That's ultimately the motivation. You know, I'd always thought, well, is it money? Is it the lobbyists giving them money? It's not even anything that severe. It's just a lack of backbone, to be honest with you. It's peer pressure. Peer pressure is what they use to get you in line. And when, I don't know about these guys, but when I saw that that's all that they had, it confused me. I wanted a better explanation for it. You know, there was one particular story which is my favorite moment of the session, for at least me, because it was the pro-life bill, and it was the judicial bypass bill, which would make it harder for minors to use the judicial system to get an abortion without their parents' consent. Now, in the State Affairs Committee, it was actually stripped down. On the floor, we added amendments on to make it stronger. Matt Krause, representative from Tarrant County, had a great amendment to make it a stronger bill. Then the Republicans started getting weak-kneed, and the Democrats started to threaten to kill the bill. Because they had some mysterious and secret way to kill an abortion bill that apparently they wouldn't use unless we gave up on this one thing. You have to pretty much think if the Democrats could kill an abortion bill, they would just kill the abortion bill. But people were scared of it. But in order to make the deal with the Democrats, they had to get us to withdraw all of our amendments. One of the amendments was mine. And it turned out, you know, for about an hour, half an hour, everyone started to try to convince me to pull my amendment. And I said no. And then more people tried to get me to pull my amendment. And I said no. They tried to convince me that my amendment actually hurts the anti-abortion cause. And then I said, if it did, why did the Democrats want it off? So it got to a point in the night, and we went till about midnight that night, where I was sitting alone at my desk, and I was the only person sitting down. The Democrats were caucusing in the back. The Republicans, probably about 50 of them, were just nervously talking in the front. And one of the Democrats comes up to me and goes, what are they talking about? And I said, me. And it was, every 10 minutes, one of them would come by and say, you really need to pull this because of this reason. And I went, no. There's nothing you can do to make me pull this. And they really, that's what they use. They use peer pressure. Ultimately, guess what? The Democrats knew I wasn't caving. They gave in. We won the debate. The ultimate bill that passed the Senate had, I think it was 5 of 6 amendments that we proposed. It was the strongest bill we possibly could vote for. Just one example of how it's more than just your vote. By the way, when we were talking with some of the pro-life groups after, I think my favorite line was, they said, well, what happened? What did it? And Jonathan said, I think the tide turned once Matt said they would have to kill him. That's one way. Another way is, you know what? People vote for everything, and they do because they trust leadership. You can't really be effective if you go down there and take leadership's offer of, hey, by the way, if you go with us and just listen to us and give us your vote, we'll give you a shiny bill with your name on it you can take home and tell people you did something. That's not leadership. Okay? What leadership is affecting the debate, like we did in that pro-life debate and so many other debates. That's what true leadership is, and that's what affecting the debate actually is. It turns out that people would take votes like Tinderholt's vote, Sticklin, myself, and I found out very quickly that people would follow us. People would follow our committee votes, not only in the House, but in the Senate too. There was one time where one of our colleagues passed a bill, and I think we all voted against it, 6 votes against an 150-member House. He comes up to me, and I said, hey, how's your bill going in the Senate? He goes, I can't get it passed. Why? Well, because you voted against it, and all the senators want to know why you voted against it. Well, if you vote on principle, you carry more votes than just your own, which is why every single representative that you turn more conservative is worth more than just 1 vote. It drives the debate. And we saw that this session. There was a lot we should have passed with the numbers we had, but we did so much better than we did last session. And that was because of you guys replacing representatives with more conservative representatives, district by district. And let's keep it up. And just one real quick thing, because I think it's very important. Regarding the rankings that Representative Sticklin brought up. Now, what I would normally say is it doesn't matter because the 3 of us actually, we always knew that one of the 3 of us would finish 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We always knew it was the 3 of us. And I would normally say it doesn't really matter. But every single vote that I voted different from Sticklin, I hear from across the House floor, someone screaming, particularly him, Rinaldi! #1! Every single time we voted differently. So I'm going to say, #1, by almost a standard deviation, I think. But thank you very much for having us. Do you guys want to come up and we'll